Now we'll look at a quick review of multi-leaders and then add a couple additional things to it. Again, leaders panel, leader styles available. Again, this goes to the multi-leader style manager, which is very similar to the dimension style manager. And again, all those values from leader styles to dimension styles should match as far as arrow size, overall scale factor, those sorts of things. And again, we only have one multi-leader tool, which is very simple. And we're going to look at these. So if you create a couple of multi-leaders, so if I select this, again, the first pick, it's always going to be the arrowhead location. So if I wanted it to point right here at this hidden line, that would be my arrowhead location. And as long as I have ortho off, I can move freely and create a proper leader, which is with an angled leader and then the little horizontal landing going off to the side. If I have ortho on, I'm locked into a horizontal or vertical leader, and you can see I'm still going to have the landing, but that's not really what I want. Most leaders, all leaders really should be angled with the landing coming off to the side. So once I place it by left clicking again, I get a text box, text editor, so I can type in my note, close the text editor. So now I have one leader, and I'm going to go ahead and do another leader down here. I'm going to make it a little further out though, because we're going to use a tool in a minute to help line these up. So if I wanted to add a leader, I can just use the add leader tool, select the multi-leader I wanted to add an arrow to, so it'd be this one in this case. Then it's just going to ask me where do I want the new arrowhead to go, so we're going to say this endpoint right here. I can keep adding as many as I want, or I can right click or hit escape and get out of that. And if I want to do the same thing to this one, I would select this multi-leader, I would select add leader, select this multi-leader, and it would pull one off of it, and I would just place it where I wanted it to go, and again hit escape or right click to finish. The remove tool is just as easy. Remove leader, select the leader that you want to take away from, specify the leader to remove. Just want to get rid of this one, right click or hit enter, it's gone. Same thing here, select this one to remove from, select this one to actually remove from that leader, from that note, right click or hit enter, it's gone. So they're very easy. This tool is align. You can see these two are not aligned with each other, and so what I'm going to do is take this tool, and there's a lot of different ways I can use it, but what I'm going to do is use it to align these in different ways, and we're going to have to undo a couple of times to show them all. But if I hit align, it's going to ask me to select multi-leaders, and what it's wanting to do is it's wanting you to select the multi-leader that you want to change. So we're going to assume this one is correct, so I want to change this one, so I'm going to select it, and then you can select as many as you want. Since I only want to affect that one, I'm going to have to again right click or hit enter. Now it's going to say select multi-leader to align to or, and again I have the little symbol out there next to my statement that tells me if I hit the down arrow I have options. Okay, so I'm going to hit that, hit the down arrow, the options selection comes up, then I'll have to click it. I got 4 options. This is the default, use current spacing. Okay, so we're going to do that first, but I can also specify spacing. I can make leader segments parallel, or I can distribute. Most of the time the use current spacing is what you're going to want. It's the default, it's the easiest. So if I select it, it's asking me to select the multi-leader to align to. In other words, this is the one I've told it I want to change. What do I want to align it with? Well, this one is correct, so I want to align it with that one, leader 1. Okay, so as soon as I select it, I've now got the control of this one, but you can see I don't have ortho on, so it's not really acting like I think it should. It's not really following the cursor. It's just kind of swinging back and forth. Okay, but if I turn ortho on, if I hit F8 and turn ortho on, you can see what it's doing. It's locking it in to where the ends of those leaders match up perfectly. No matter where I move my mouse, it's going to be lined up with that leader 1. And so that's what I want. When I'm using this tool, I really want to use F8, use keep ortho on, so it lines them up perfectly. And then all I have to do is left click, and it's in line now. And that is it. Now I'm going to hit undo, and we'll look at a different one. If I hit align this time, and again I want to change this one right here, and then right click or hit enter, hit the down arrow, select options, we'll look at specify spacing. So if we look at that one, click it, it just literally is going to ask me for a space. So what's my spacing? So we're going to type in, say 1, and hit enter. Now select the multi-leader I want to align with, which would be this one. So this one's correct. And again, keep ortho on. And what it's doing, you can't really tell it so much from here, but what it's doing is, as long as I have ortho on, it's aligning the end of these landings right here. But the spacing in between leader 1 and leader 2 is 1 inch, because that's the number I typed in. Okay, so again, what I'm doing is aligning. I want to change this one. Right click or hit enter. Down arrow. Options. I'm wanting to specify spacing. So how much of a space do I want between leader 1 and leader 2? Type in, say 1. Tell you what, we'll go 0.5 just to make it more obvious this time. So I want the spacing between leader 1 and leader 2 to be ½ an inch. So 0.5, hit enter. Which one do I want to align with? I want to align with this one. And so I can bring it above it with a spacing of 0.5 between them, or below it with a spacing of 0.5 between them. As you can see, the end of the landings are always going to line up as long as I have ortho on. The spacing in between is 0.5 because that's what I told it. And so then I would left click, and there they are. So that's another way to use it. And yet another way is align. I want to change this one. Right click, down arrow, select options. I can make the leader segments parallel. And when it says leader segments, it's talking about this is technically the leader. The leader is the arrow and the line from it. This is the landing. So leader, landing. So when it says make leader segments parallel, which is what a lot of people like, in other words, they're all uniform, it means take the angle of this leader and the angle of that leader and make them identical. So if I make the leader segments parallel, it's going to ask me which multi-leader to align to again. And again, I'm always assuming leader 1 is correct. So I've told the computer, told the program that I want to change this one. And the way I want to change it is to make the leader parallel to whichever one I select now. So if I select leader 1, you can see what it did. It messed up the alignment this way, but the angle of this leader and the angle of that leader are now identical. So there's different ways to use that. And then the last way is distribute. Distribute's a little hard to use, but if you use distribute, what it's going to do is ask for a first point. So let's say I chose this as my first point. And then it's going to ask for a second point. So let's say I picked a point way down here. And what it does is it's going to distribute that leader between the top and the bottom.